Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. Tonight, episode 136. And tonight I thought we'd chat a little bit about our upcoming get-together, or outing, or camping trip, or whatever you folks out there so want to call it. But anyway, previously we talked about that we were planning an outing. We asked people who were interested. I think we've gotten in contact with mostly everybody that showed interest in that, and we picked a date. We kind of have a location, so... I mean, tonight's episode's just to fill everybody in and kind of give one last kick at the can. If you are so interested in perhaps coming to this get-together or you want to know a few more details, definitely get in touch with us before the weekend of the 23rd, 24th. That's when we're the weekend of the 23rd, 24th. And that way we can make sure that there's going to be room. I mean, we still got to respect COVID regulations and stuff like that. Some of the other provinces are having flare-ups, so who knows what's going to happen here. And we're trying to keep everything as to the book as possible, because we don't want to create problems. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm just checking to make sure we're actually broadcasting, and I don't see anything yet.
It says we are. I'm hoping. Is there anybody out there? Well, let's proceed forward as normal. I will check it on my laptop over here, Ben. I mean, it says we're broadcasting and it says we're streaming, so...
Sweet.
I mean, the science is there. The clicky buzz stuff.
Okay, well, we'll have to assume we are until someone tells us otherwise. Or lack thereof. Anyways, yeah, so upcoming weekend. There's a little bit more to that, I think, than people realize, but we've got a plan. We do.
Well, I mean, we have the typical Atlantic Bushcraft plan. You know what I mean? Like that's all anybody can ever hope for. That's all I ever hope for. I mean, I think we're still doing pretty good, all things considering. I mean, I know we keep harking on COVID and all that nonsense, but honestly, it just throws such a wrench into everything.
It does. It's a bit frustrating. Yeah, and I guess it is a bit of an excuse in some ways, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It does make things difficult. We are trying to follow the rules and all that. But I don't know about you, but I'm really kind of missing getting out there and doing stuff, and I'm really looking forward to this trip, this opportunity to get to meet up with some people and try a few new things. I think it's going to be a good time.
I agree. And we are broadcasting for sure, because Gary at least joined us here, so good times. Hey, Gary, how's it going, buddy? I don't know if he's listening yet, and he may not be, but today is Steve's birthday. And Steve is a longtime viewer of Atlantic Bushcraft. I'm not going to say his last name. Anybody that knows who Steve is, they know his last name. So happy birthday, Steve. I didn't post on your Facebook or anything there yet because I figured I'd take the opportunity live on air, hoping you were here, but we don't know yet, to say happy birthday.
Yeah, I reached out to him over
you suck
social
up.
Media. Huh?
I said you suck up.
Whoa.
It's fine. But yeah, anyway, happy birthday, Steve. Like I said, I guess we're broadcasting. I don't actually see it on our page for some reason.
That's what I'm finding a bit weird. Are we broadcasting on Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures?
Yeah, we're supposed to be. What's going on here? Oh, I know what's going on here.
What's going on here?
For some reason, it had the show as unlisted. We're still broadcasting, and anybody that went to the Facebook page and clicked the link, everybody was good. But for some reason, it switched over to unlisted instead of public. But it's public now, so sorry about that, everybody. You know, the general complications that come with not knowing how to do this properly and still trying to do it. But here we are.
Okay, now I can see things.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's up on mine now, too. So we're good. That's all it was. It was a little checkbox. Technology is great until it doesn't work, right? But anyway.
Yeah, well, I found a bit of that out last week when you weren't here to help us out.
I did catch that. Unfortunately, I didn't see it live. I was still recovering at that point, but I did follow it up the next day. I think I told you about it, and it was good. You guys did a good job.
We did okay. It wasn't the same as when you were here, buddy, but it was okay.
What do you mean it's not the same? I buggered it up too. The only difference is what are we in 5 minutes? You guys had an extra couple minutes on me, but that's about it.
And there may have been a last minute text to you like, what do I do with this?
That's fine. You made it work, and that is the true Atlantic Bushcraft feeling. You know what I mean? We always say necessity is the mother of invention, so when push came to shove, you guys came through, and I think it's an A+ job.
Awesome. No, we're proud of it. So, the weekend, I think there's probably going to be a few little surprises involved in it. Nothing massive, nothing, earth shattering, but hopefully it should be a good time. Dates are probably fine to release.
Yep. That's what I said. The weekend off the 23rd, 24th is what we're looking at. Everybody that we have talked to up until this point has indicated, for the most part, that weekend will work. I know we were dancing around, Thanksgiving and Halloween's the next weekend and all that good stuff and things to be, but it seems to be working. We even have gone as far to have a tentative location.
Yes,
so
we do.
Hopefully this weekend we can confirm that even better. I don't want to give the exact location. Ben and I talked about this before the show, more because if you want to come, that's great. And we do want you there, don't misunderstand, but we do need to know who's coming to make sure there's going to be room and stuff like that because, once again, that bloody old COVID messing everything up. We got to make sure we adhere to that. And I know I can hear people out there, and I've had people tell it to me already. I mean, like, you're not going to be watched. Why do you need to adhere to that? Because it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? We are out here. We run the YouTube channel. We have the podcast. We are trying to set... I don't want to say we're trying to set an example. I think we're just trying to keep ourselves out of trouble more than anything. And anybody that comes along with us to our crazy adventures, we're trying to keep them out of trouble too. So we are going to adhere to it as best as we can.
That's my general life plan, is to just stay out of trouble.
Oh, man, we are not doing good at it. So we are not doing good at it. You and I are getting way too much trouble.
I've succeeded a couple of times. It's pretty cool when you actually succeed. I mean, I'm not planning it.
I mean, sometimes I plan at it. Sometimes it just happens sporadically and delightfully. So
a few things we can let go, I think we can mention, is there should be ability to either car camp or move a little bit more into the woods.
Yes. So there isn't... The area we're looking at is just kind of an open area. You can drive right into it. You can car camp, tent camp. You can bring a small camper, small RV or something like that. Once again, numbers providing and all that good stuff. There's a woodsy area where you're more than easily able to set up some hammocks. Hopefully we can use the area and stuff like that. Maybe we'll do some demonstrations. We'll talk about that later. There is lake access for anybody that's interested in doing a little boating. Keep in mind this time of year, it's probably a little cooler and stuff like that, so just take all safety precautions. We want to make sure you got life jackets. Be as safe as you can, but the access is there. There is a small boat launch, like if you want to bring a small or motorized boat or something like that, you can pull a trailer in there and things like that. It's a pretty good sized lake. It's fairly deep. So
I can bring my 45-foot yacht?
Yeah, I don't know about that. It may not get deep enough fast enough unless you're willing to drive out, like 20 feet or something like that. It depends. Do you get an amphibious vehicle?
Oh. I don't have a 45-foot yacht either.
Well, I mean, we're talking hypotheticals here, but the room is there. I mean, within reason. If you want a small, I don't want to say motorboat, but a motorized boat, like I'm thinking 14 aluminum foot boat, if you want to pull a trailer in. I've seen them launch there before. I've launched similar boats there before. I've worked around this area when I used to work with natural resources, and I know it's pretty good that way. And it's large. It's a good... If you're kayaking or canoeing, you're good for a full day of exploring if you so wanted to do it. If you're just going to, paddle as hard as you can from one end to the other, a couple hours. But if you actually want to take your time, see some scenery, stuff like that, you got a full day of adventuring there if you so choose.
Sounds good.
Because I do think the plan, Ben, and honestly, we're still kind of planning this, if anybody hasn't figured that out yet. But I think we're planning to go there... Maybe, if it's possible, Ben and I may show up on Friday night. No guarantees. That gives us a day to kind of get our act together more than anything. And then the general show up will be Saturday. We spend the night and leave on Sunday. It's not a camping park or anything like that, so we have no check-in times, no check-out times, no nothing crazy like that. Like, this is, pretty unregulated in that sense, which I think is better potentially for us. That being said, there is restrictions. There is no running water. There's no power. There's no cell service. So
no cell there?
No, I don't think there is. If there is, it's spotty. I mean, you can drive 20 minutes up the road and you'll have great cell service. But I think in this area, the cell service is actually, it's pretty limited. I mean, I'm trying to remember for sure, but I think when I was there over the summer, it was not happening. I think maybe the backside of the lake, when I got to that, I got a couple bars, but for the majority, I would not count on cell service. But I like that. It's time to unhook. That's not the point of going out there is playing your phone.
No.
It's to meet people. We'll chat a little bit. We'll tell some stories. As I mentioned earlier, perhaps some demonstrations. It's come up. There's been some interest in people wanting to learn a few things. And I think that's what this is all really about. We love to meet you folks. Hopefully we learn some stuff from you guys. If potentially Ben and I don't goober it up too bad, maybe you'll learn a few things from us. It's hard to say. We got some ideas on things we'd like to show people, or I guess requests on things people would like to know. One request that we had was potentially doing some ropes and knots. Some basic ropes and knots for hanging hammocks, guy lines, stuff like that. Simple knots. We're not going to go into anything super fancy or crazy. I mean, unless you guys want that, in which case we'll go as crazy as we are knowledgeable to. Don't get us wrong. We're not pretending to be the end-all, be-all. The what?
The resident experts on knots and bushcraft?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. We're just a couple of guys that likes to play in the woods. And I think anybody that listens to our podcast and has stayed with us through the 136 episodes, I think you folks hopefully
try, but we don't at all.
Folks, is that better? Oh, yeah, my wife just came in and is giving me hell now. I should include her in that. She has stepped in on with for a few, so I should say we're a couple of folks who like to play in the woods. Is that better, Mel? Are you going to come in and say hi? Or are you just stealing something out of the drink fridge and going to leave? And she's gone. So there we go.
You're done, man. You're finished.
General area of Nova Scotia. So general area is going to be about 20 minutes outside Sheet Harbour. So we are looking to the back end of the HRM area. For everybody that we have talked to, it's not the most central location, everybody that's traveling, but it is fairly central location provincially. Because we have had potential interest, and I say potential interest because they're not confirmed yet. We might get somebody as far away as Cape Breton. And I had somebody... It's not Yarmouth. Parisbro? I always forget the name of this place. I'll remember it. Anyway, it worked out for the two extremes. It's almost halfway. But yeah, so what's some thoughts for you, Ben? What's some things that you would like to see happen over this to give people an idea of what they can expect?
Definitely some food. I'm really hoping the food will be pretty good. I guess I got some ideas myself of something I'm hoping to try and do. Not to give it away too much, but I think you're going to be pretty excited.
I think I know what it's going to be. Liverpool. That's the place I was trying to remember. Anyway, yeah, I think there's going to be some good food. There'll probably be, I'm hoping some good conversations. That's the big thing I want to get out of this. I want to meet some people, and I want to hear some stories, and I'm hoping that I get to see some new things or interesting ways of doing things that perhaps we haven't thought about, Ben. And honestly, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. So I got a few setups I might bring out, try, set up, let people see, play with. I'm sure you probably have a few things you're planning on taking.
Where for this location, you've seen my tickle trunk of randomness. I'll probably be taking the tickle trunk of randomness. It has since graduated from a cardboard box, and it's actually like a tote now. So I've professionalized my random crap.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a few shelters that I'd like to bring just for fun. Um, I mean, the obvious is hammock. I always love my hammock system. Got a couple of tent systems, a couple of tarps that I might just throw in. If people get bored, tarps are always a good little thing to pull out. Anytime I'm camping with a bunch of guys and things just don't seem to be as exciting as it should be, I pull out a tarp and say, "Let's figure this out." And it's usually pretty neat what people come up with as a shelter for a tarp. Like,
I,
you know, it's,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ben. I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh no, I was saying it's just one of those things you can be very creative with and have a lot of fun. So I'll probably grab a few things of those and a bunch of other stuff here that we can potentially play with depending on the crowd and how it works.
So yeah, I did have some requests. If these people show up, they'd perhaps like to see some hammock setups. If anybody hasn't seen it before, on our YouTube channel, we did have a basic hammock setup guide. The Ben was nice enough to basically, spearhead. I had a hammock there, and he taught me most of what I know about my hammock setup. In all honesty, for anybody out there that's interested, Ben is, between us, the hammock guru for sure. So if you are interested in hammock camping, definitely check that video out. Ben does a great job of explaining a lot of the little things you can do that make it a lot easier. And honestly, the things that I purchased to change my hammock around, very cost effective. Ben showed me how to set it up, and it was an amazing difference for very little effort and very little investment.
Well, yeah, if you think about our 2 camping trips that we got to do using your hammock, the first one was literally you had a couple of pieces of string. I think you got it at the back of your truck and tried to get the hammock set up well. To the second one, we took. Did I bring or did you get a couple of Whoopi Slings? I know you got Whoopi Slings.
No, I had purchased Whoopi Slings, and I had purchased tree straps as well.
Yeah, and so we set them up while you were there in the woods, and I mean, you seemed pretty impressed with the difference that a Whoopi Sling gave to your setup.
What I really liked about it, and I know kind of diving into another topic here, but because we're onto it, I liked the quick adjustability and the amount of adjustability you got in with them. You know what I mean? It was like on the fly adjusting down to ½ inches instead of clipping into different loops and different things like that, or trying to tie a knot in just the specific right spot to be able to get the proper angles and stuff. You just slide it, lock it, done.
Yeah, well, a Whoopi Sling is basically that. It's infinite adjustability within a finite length. So in our case, I think each Whoopi Sling sits at about 6 feet, and you can pretty well adjust it anywhere from down to about 1.5 feet to the full 6 foot length or whatever, or 10 foot of length. So where the 6 foot is more or less the middle point of it. That does give you a ton of room to set from one extreme to the next, which means as long as you have 2 trees that are, say, a 10-foot hammock, 12 feet apart to almost 20 feet, you can generally hook up without any issue, right? So that gives you a ton of options. And that same method actually can work with tarps and some tent setups for your guidelines and stuff. It really is a useful little tool, and something that maybe in the future we'll dive into again. We'll get some Whoopi Slings and try a few, not just Whoopi Slings, but the Amstel. I got a bit here in my hand I'm playing with because now we're talking about it. I'm thinking about it because there's a ton of stuff you can do with that, and it's different than knot tying, but it's along the same lines. How can you make ropes do what you want, right? So always a good time, always interesting. It's surprising how much fun a little bit of rope can give a group of people. Keep your mind out of the gutter there, buddy.
I didn't say a word, bud. I just
see right where it went. It just tied, didn't it?
I guess. Okay, changing gears. For something else that other people should be aware of is Ben and I are both planning to bring our families. As I said, Melissa has come along onto the show a few times and has chatted. She's going to be coming up. You've seen my daughter running it out. She's going to be coming up. Hopefully Mel can do a little demonstration on doing some cordage. She's pretty good at that. Ben is bringing, like I said, his family, so I'm sure they'll bring their own flavor of stuff when they come as well. hopefully, and I haven't asked her yet, but I'm going to. Mel may have some planning for little ones. She did that on one of the Nova Scotia Bushcraft gatherings. And once again, please be aware this is not a replacement for the Nova Scotia Bushcraft gathering because I had that asked too. No, this is something completely different. This is just Ben and I. We were planning on going out camping, and we're inviting you folks along if you just want to poke your heads in more than anything.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the family out for one last camping adventure for the year, though it's getting colder and stuff like that. And I think Ben much the same, and that's where we sit. So no, we're not trying to step on the Atlantic Bushcraft toes. I've talked to Lawrence about it. He knows what's going on. Things are good that way. We still fully endorse that get together, and that is something completely different and wonderful in its own way. And once that comes back into fruition, you will definitely see us going back to that as well.
Yeah. So to be clear, in case anyone wonders, we are not. Nova Scotia Bushcraft and Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures are two totally separate entities that happily coexist.
Yep.
That's the best way to put it. We do not sit on their board. We're not one of their administrators or directors or anything you can call it like that. And they really have no influence on what we do. That being said, we do advertise on their site. We do endorse them. We do participate in stuff. And we do show up to their events. So we happily coexist. We feel that it's a good relationship that kind of we both help each other. So,
and that's the thing. That's what bushcrafting's all about, is sharing the knowledge. And we're never trying to hoard anything to ourselves. We want you, we're not ever going to say, oh, come to us. We got all the good stuff. No, by means, go out. There's tons of people out there you can look at, like Mark Young, Jeremy, Nova Scotia Bushcraft. The sky's the limit, and we encourage you to go out and check those out as too. And that's why Lawrence was nice enough to let us advertise on his mediums there and stuff like that too, because we get along good and we support each other, and that's where it is. Steve, you made it, bud. You might have missed it at the start because I screwed up and didn't advertise this properly, but happy birthday, buddy.
You were worried about his last name, but it's posted right there.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't remember if it was or not, but to all our global listeners, I'm not going to divulge that information. However, if you come to our YouTube channel and watch a live show, you'll find it out.
If that is his real name.
If that is his real name. I mean, it's a name on a screen. But yeah, so that's some of our plans for what's going to happen on that weekend. We want to get out there. It is going to be a fairly easy setup. I'm going to openly admit where it is an open area, stuff like that. It may not be as deep woodsy as some people were expecting. But at the same time, the trade-off on that is we're going to allow an opportunity for more variety of people to join us. Once again, a couple of the people that hinted originally they may want to come, there was minor mobility issues and things like that, and trekking into the woods deep. I tried to take all that into consideration, and then I chatted with Ben. We came up with a few ideas. And so far, the one we're planning seems to be the best. Once again, don't want to divulge the location because we still have to 100% confirm it. But I'm pretty confident it's going to be good. And if Ben do manage to get out there and check it out this weekend, I do have another spot I'm going to show you along the way, Ben. Not potentially for this gathering, but for you and I to have an outing of our own potentially when it snows. Because I think it's going to be a neat spot.
Sounds good. Yeah, I kind of because you kind of just creeped in on it a little bit. I'd like to sort of justify some of our thought process of why we're choosing the type of location we are. So if, in case anyone's wondering, we have looked at private campgrounds that are open year-round at some of them. And although we're not knocking any of them, we did find that it wasn't necessarily conducive to the bushcraft spirit that we wanted to be in. Some of them had set camp areas. Some of them had platforms. And some of them are kind of restrictive in what you can and cannot do, which wasn't really working for what we wanted. We're not knocking them. It's great for people who are, but we wanted those options. And we also wanted a place that was local enough or accessible enough by a variety of vehicles that we weren't excluding anyone. And so some of the areas we looked at were kind of restrictive in the number of people you could have, say, at a particular site or a particular location, and that wasn't really working for us. And then like we said, we know that some of our bushcrafters, I mean, it's not going to be for everyone because some people don't even have vehicles and can't drive those distances. We understand that, and we can't accommodate absolutely everyone. Um, but if you pretty well have a vehicle, you can make it here. I don't think you need to worry about having something that's capable of extreme off-road or anything like that. So it's. I think we've chose something. Our concept is something that will be the most inclusive that we could reasonably choose, and gives us access to the environment that will allow us to have the most options for like setups and stuff like that. So.
No, and I agree. And we do have a backup location. We have a couple backup locations, but this one seems to have fit the bill as best as we could, as Ben explained there. So I'm confident. I'm happy with this. As long as everything, there's no curveballs and surprises, I think we're going to be good. This also does allow, like I said, a little bit more. If you're interested in bringing your family along, your significant other, maybe one of your children, something like that, this will be an option. Oh, that is the thing. There is one outhouse on site. So there is like a bathroom area so if you do have, a spouse, significant other, kids, things like that may be leery of, bathroom in the woods, because that is one of the big hurdles we talked about before in some of our previous shows. There is something that'll have a little bit of privacy there and things like that. That's about the only nicety you will find in this specific location. Now, that being said, it is a basic outhouse. Don't expect a glamorous outhouse. This is still... this is not high class stuff.
Four walls, a roof, and somewhere to sit,
and a hole. That's basically it.
Yeah.
But no. And so we did plan a few programs. There is, like I said, lots of places where you can pitch tents. There's places where you can pitch tarps. There's a couple places where you could pull a small camper in or something like that if that's your deal. Once a set, like Ben said, try to be all inclusive. And I think we did as good as we could, Ben.
Yeah, it's a tall order, and when you really look at things, and I mean, we looked at some options that we thought were going to be really good. A couple of them, I think each of us looked at a few, and we said, "Man, that's almost perfect." And then we looked into it a bit better, and we seen a few things that warned us that maybe it would be difficult. Some of them, it came down to cost. It would have cost our guests a fair amount per night. Others were just restrictions, things like that. So this has the lowest cost, the least restrictions, and probably the most options that we could find. But you are sort of still limited. You have to provide yourself with some kind of shelter and sleeping arrangements. So it's not going to be, there is no cabins to rent. There's not a local hotel you can stick into and drop by in the morning. If there is, it's probably 30 minutes away
at least, and potentially there's only one in Sheet Harbor I can think of that's right in the town of Sheet Harbor, and it might be closed for season. Like, wow. It's kind of, honestly, it's a motel kind of thing, and it's a tourist location for some of the sightseeing there, and there's like 8 rooms, and I think they close basically in the fall and they're done until spring.
Wow.
I can't confirm that. I didn't look into it because, but I wouldn't count on it. Let's go with that.
Well, I mean, but right now, like, I'm noticing that the leaves around here, like I'm near the airport, north of Halifax, the leaves are getting extremely bright. We are in the peak time for fall right now, and this week and the next couple of weeks this is it, people. Like, if you want to get out and see beautiful leaves and trees and fall colors and all that, this is it. Nights are getting really short. I mean, it is dark now, well before 7.
Yeah, it was dark early tonight.
So just keep.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much where we go. And if people are experiencing buffering here tonight, I'm not sure why. I get a little message that keeps popping up to say your viewers may experience buffering, and I'm not sure if it's coming from my broadcasting software or if it's coming from YouTube, but it's coming from somewhere. If anybody can jot in and make sure that things are still good for you, that'd be awesome. And the other thing I'd like to put on there on that kind of, safety warning is, it is fall. It's going to be cool. So make sure that if you are coming along, bring yourself a warm sleeping bag, potentially some warm sleeping gear. Like I would I'm gonna bring my thermals. I'll be, sleeping in them. I'd rather peel the sleeping bag back and let some air in than freeze all night, because we've experienced that. The very first camping trip that Ben and I went on actually wasn't too dissimilar from this time of year. We went in, it was nice and warm, and we froze over granted, we were at a waterfall and it was humid and all that, but realized we're going to be beside a lake. Very similar circumstances, and coming from experience and learning from that, probably going to be misty in the morning. Humidity's probably going to be up. It's going to be cool. It's going to be chilly. So bring warm clothes, bring warm blankets. If you do not have these items and you are still very interested in coming, by all means, reach out to us. We'll make some calls, ask some friends, dig through our gear. We'll try and accommodate bits and pieces here and there. I know we have an extensive range of gear, but at that same time, realize we don't have an all-inclusive amount of gear either. We may be able to pick parts here and get you coming along, but as we've said before, this is our hobby. We don't get paid for it, and we don't get any endorsement for any of our gear, so it's all out of our pocket, and we basically have what gets us into the woods and a few extra things that we've tried here and there that might squeak you through, but it's not going to be the Taj Mahal with stuff either.
Well, I tested my tenting again, so a decent sleeping bag. Don't get me wrong, I think it's rated to close to a 0, and over the weekend I think it was getting down to 6 degrees at the cabin where I was too, and I set up the little cot tent I have. I set it up cot, not hot, COT, with that sleeping bag, and that's all I slept in. I didn't wear thermals. I had nothing else, just that sleeping bag. And I stayed out till about 2, 3 in the morning. I was just outside my cabin, like it was an easy trip back to my cabin. Like 5, 10 steps across a wooden platform. And honestly, I got cold. I decided that's enough, and I got up and went in. Like, it wasn't freezing. It wouldn't have been enough to, like, if we were out camping, I would have turned around and said, I'm done. And I still had options, but I'd proven that that sleeping bag wasn't still, again, warm enough for what we did, which is the one we had the other spring that I had. So I will be bringing a warmer setup than that. Personally, I'm going to take some extra gear that I have, some liners and stuff, things that give me those extra few degrees to make it comfortable. And if my whole family decides to come, or if it's just partial, we'll make that decision later. Or they may just do drop in. They may come in for the day and sort of thing. I have to accommodate for that. So it'll be interesting. It is fun. It is always neat to try different gear and stuff. If you're looking for gear, not only like could we potentially help, I guess, but check out your local Value Villages, your Frenchies, even Walmart. I went a winter trip one time, and we literally went to Walmart and bought 2 or 3 cheap sleeping bags, and they're probably not that far from here. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Things are coming apart behind you, Ben.
Oh, yeah. How about these Ozark trails? They're supposed to be good to 4.4 degrees, and they are not. Don't believe that for a second. They're glorified blankets. But they fold down extremely small, and they compact. And I don't think I spent more than $20-$30 for this. Like, it wasn't a lot of money. But you know what? They are great, because I'll show you something else.
And if anybody's wondering, we have talked about this in previous shows as well. The rating that you see on that sleeping bag is generally the extreme end rating. That means you won't die, but you are not going to be comfortable.
No, and that's very much true. You will not be comfortable. But look at the size of this. So this is a fleece liner sold by Coleman. I mean, it's a few years old now. I paid, I can tell you, because it was on a bargain bin or something, $10 when I bought it. And what it says is it's good to 10 degrees Celsius. Somewhere else on it, or one similar to this, it actually says it like adds 10 degrees to any sleeping bag as a liner.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same physical size before this one is compressed is that. So for small, lightweight, and easy to pack, I take these in the summer. They're great because when you really don't want a lot of sleeping bag, and this works. But it's also a great little liner. So if you have an okay sleeping bag and you just want to boost it, this might be the cheaper option than going out and buying a $200 down sleeping bag, and you're not sure you're going to like it.
No, that's for sure. And once again, folks, like I said, it's going to be cool. Plan overkill. I'm bringing my minus 18 sleeping bag. Do I expect to get minus 18? No. But once again, that's the extreme end. At minus 18, I won't die. I won't be comfortable. Its comfort rating is probably right around the 0 mark, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm planning for it to potentially hit around the 0 mark. Mind you, we got that mammoth one is probably what I'll end up taking for... Honestly, the three of us could almost get in it. But, yeah, anyway, just plan to be warm. We don't want to wait out there being miserable. Like, this is supposed to be a fun get-together, and hopefully that plan's the same. So, yeah, I don't think we'll hark on it too much unless you had more to fill in there, Ben.
Well, I can always go on.
Oh, I know, but I mean, before we change gears, rounding up the getaway, if you want to come, contact us, and there's all kinds of ways to contact us. Contact us on YouTube, Facebook, email us, messenger us, phone us if you happen to have our number, text us. I'm not posting that. I'm not that crazy yet. But yeah, get in touch with us. That way we can include you on the list. That way we have an idea of how many people are coming. Make sure that we're going to do our social distancing properly and all that. And I understand it's an outside event and we're allowed this many. We're going to try and go overboard with the safety stuff. That way if somebody does come in, because there is a police station out there in Sheet Harbor, and if they drive through, there's already been people charged in Nova Scotia for non-compliance on COVID rules. And we don't want anyone to get that. You know what I mean? So yeah, dress warm. There should be lots of room. If you want to take your families, by all means, come with an open mind. If you have something that's super neat, by all means, drag it along. We'd love to see it. If you've seen something we've done, you don't like it, this is the time to, show us what your thoughts are and argue your point, because, once again, we never say we know everything. There's always a better mousetrap, and I'm always interested in seeing it. And come out and have some fun, in all honesty. That's what it's about. Let's have some fun. And maybe go for, a moonlight swim in cold water. Because that's on my list to do, too, if we have a good fire going.
You're by yourself, buddy.
Yeah, it's fine. Wouldn't be the first time. Funny story. When and Troy probably remembers this, too. No, it was Paul with me, sorry. My fire chief. When we were taking a course in fire school, there was still ice in the lake. And we were swimming around in it. Not for long, don't get us wrong, but we were still swimming around in it. But yeah, so that's kind of it on the outing kind of part of it before we, divulge off into our little rants and stuff like we normally do in all our episodes. I kind of want to try and keep all that stuff concise. So if you're tuned in just to hear the details, that's kind of it. In a nutshell, once we are confirmed with how many people are coming, we will get in touch with those people individually, give them the exact location. Steve and Gary, I'll let you guys know basically where we're planning there. And the other folks that I was talking to, I'll drop you guys a message too. So, as long as you confirm that you're coming with us, and we do have our own families and a few other people that may be coming. So I think it's going to be a good get together. Won't be huge. We're not talking, like 50, 60 people. We're talking 10, 20 people, which I think is good for us. And yeah, hopefully it'll be a ton of fun.
Well, if Gary brings his battleship, that's worth 10 people there.
I mean, alone. We're going to have to send that thing off, and I'll have to get a very small bottle of champagne. We'll christen the boat, Gary, if you're still listening to us. It's going to be cheap champagne, so don't drink it.
I've had the opportunity to paddle a couple of his, and man, they are fun.
I have not had the opportunity to try any of them, but I have seen pictures and videos of him in them, and man, they look fancy. They look nice. They look smooth. So I hope he does bring it along. I'd be interested in seeing this latest addition to his stuff there.
You know what they rarely are, though? Is light.
Yeah, but at least this, you don't have to go far to get it in the water. That is the
So
one good location or thing about this location.
the good thing about this trip is anyone who's coming, it is kind of a car trip. And the nice thing about car trips, I mean, it's not always our bread and butter, but the nice thing is this is the time to test your gear. This is the time to bring extra gear and play with it and know what you're doing and have some options. And worst case scenario, you can go back to your car, idle it up, and put on the heated seats and get it out of your chill type deal. Like you'll have some options here. Um, and yeah, just, be open to that.
Oh, for sure. And if you have gear you're not familiar with, as Ben said, maybe you don't know how it works, drag it along. Hopefully somebody there will be able to tell you. Maybe we'll learn some stuff too. I got some stuff that I'm sure there's better ways to use it. And I'm taking it, and hopefully somebody will show me some of it. Ben?
I'll try my best, buddy.
Anybody that was, like some of the gear that I'm going to bring along, Ben talked about some of his. I'm probably going to bring along some of my fire stuff. It's been a while since I did a full-on demonstration, so that should be interesting. I'll bring the Sawyer water filter. If anybody's interested in that, you can actually see us, put some water through it, and I'll drink it and show that it's pretty good that way. And we'll do some basic like cook setups. How do you make a basic cook setup, or we'll talk about tri-sticks, feather sticking. We're going to cover all the classic things, or at least try to for anybody that's interested. But honestly, if that's not what people are into, we are 100% on board to do what you guys want to do. I think.
You've just opened us up to so much trouble.
I was about to say, as long as it doesn't get too weird. I mean, I'm not taking the rabbit suit out again. That's already been put away for this year.
The rabbit suit?
Shh, that's all I'll say about that.
I didn't realize you were a Furby.
I don't know if you'd call that a Furby, whatever it is, but actually there's a funny story about the rabbit suit, and that'll be one of the ones I'll say around the campfire, so if nothing else, come for that. Oh, and I guess the other thing is, if you really are against sleeping out at this campsite, there is the option of maybe blowing in the morning. Once again, let us know. We don't really have a checkout time, but I'm going to assume if you do want to come in early on the Sunday or stay for the Saturday evening, we'd just like an idea if you're coming or not.
Yeah, the only thought I really have with Sunday is oftentimes, in my experience, a lot of people do take off early on the Sunday mornings. So if you show up, you may miss a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you're going to show up for a day, I would probably recommend Saturday. But it's hit or miss with these things, like it really is. A lot of people want to be gone. If they're only staying a day, they want to be gone before it's dark. So they'll be there and say Saturday afternoon type deal. Me and you'll probably stick around till late afternoon anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're going to stay probably, for quite a while there. Just make sure everybody gets situated away and all that good stuff. You guys should have a camping tall tale competition. That's anytime Ben and I get together. It's not a competition. It's just... I still remember, once again, the first camping trip we had. The first night, we were still feeling each other out and getting used to each other's company and what to expect and stuff like that. Then the second night, when we decided we were starting to freeze to death and we were going to start chatting around the campfire, things got interesting. And we told a lot of great stories.
Yep. Good times, good conversation. I gotta say, when people are cold, the things they will say.
We talked about a lot of stuff. Not all of them camping tales, but there were some tall tales. Well, I don't know if they were tall tales. They're interesting tales. I don't think we told any fibs or tall tales. I think they were just sometime outrageous story, and we admitted to some of the things that we done that might be less couthy off us. And then we talked about a lot of stuff that, just our upbringings and things like that, which I'm sure we'll develop, dive back into once we get around the campfire, and maybe the occasional warm drink into us. And I think it's going to be a good time, all in all.
Yeah, no, it should be a great time. Looking forward to it.
130-point buck. Oh, man.
An 18-point buck right there. Or no, not a buck.
It's a doe with antlers. The stories start. What was that one? 1, 2, 3,
I don't
4,
remember how many
8.
points my caribou was.
I don't think I've ever. The biggest one I might have got was probably 8 or 10 points. I'm not into monster buck hunting. Honestly, because I don't find the meat as good. I find it gets a little rangy and stuff like that. And this is the part of the show where we're going to start, doing our normal roundabout stuff. But anyway, yeah, I find as the deer gets older, and later in the season, of course, as it goes through the rut and all those chemicals are pumping through it, crazy crap like that, the meat just doesn't taste as good. I generally like trying to take somewhere between a 4 and 5-year-old buck, and that's only when I do. You know what I mean? I haven't taken a ton of deer because most times I don't require the meat.
Do you have an archery target?
I do. I got a Reinhardt I can bring along. Would you like me to put it in the truck?
Thinking it might not hurt.
All right. I'll take the Reinhardt. I'll take the compound bow too. Have you tried my compound bow before?
I think I've tried yours now.
Okay, I'll take it along. Maybe I'll take along the recurve crossbow instead of the compound crossbow.
I might take a couple of breakdowns. I'm not sure taking my compound is a good idea.
Okay. Well, mine's short, right? Like you can kind of see the back of it here, hanging on my wall. Mine is only like 3 feet. It's a tiny, tiny compound bow. So, I think I have seen your compound bow though.
Yeah, I think you can pull it back. I think stronger people can generally pull it back without any issue, but honestly, it wouldn't take much to injure someone. Myself included, if I'm not really prepped for it. So,
I think I got mine set at 60 or 65 right now. Yeah. That's why I figured the recurve crossbow might be a good way to go if anybody was interested in trying some of that stuff in a safe manner, of course.
This is the wife's. The wife's 32 pounds.
I tried to get Mel into archery with me, not hunting, archery. She's got no interest in it.
My daughter, for Christmas, that's what she asked for.
Yeah, and I tried to track you one down. It didn't go well. But.
Yeah. And mine is 36 pounds. So there's one of the limits.
But that's your recurve, right?
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, for just fun, this is it, man.
Oh, yeah. By far. Like, the only reason I have a compound bow is because it's easier to get the 50-pound draw weight with a nice let-off. Otherwise, I'd probably just have a recurve bow, and I enjoy small game hunting with a bow. And if you ever want to challenge yourself and look like a complete fool at the same time, do small game hunting with a recurve bow. It's a ton of fun. Don't misunderstand. Ton of fun. However, for me, more often than not, I miss and all that good stuff. But I mean, we've talked about me going into the woods and not bringing arrows. So I'm just out there to have fun most times.
But yeah, no, I mean, I got a couple of bows on my drag line for fun and stuff, as long as it's safe. Do realize that even if we take this stuff along, if there's a bunch of kids running around and we can't keep a safe area set aside, that things like that will get put away pretty quick. It won't.
Yeah. Safety, of course, being key here.
Number one.
Once again, right now, confirmed it's only Ben's family and my family, both of which are familiar with the bows and stuff like that. But, yeah, we got ideas. There'll be stuff to do. Big thing is the meet and greet and some good conversations. I don't think I've ever gone to any kind of gathering or camping trip with multiple people where the conversation wasn't the highlight. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And the food. Food's always good. Doesn't matter what, because there's always such a variety of stuff you can see and new ways you can learn to do stuff better yourself. I tell this tale all the time. I was eating gruel basically out of a cup while Ben's over there eating scrambled eggs and bacon and stuff, and I finally gave my head a shake and went, what in the hell am I doing? Like, this guy over here, he's got to figure it out.
I told you before, there is no point in starving in the woods.
Well, I never starved. I didn't have any flavor, man. It was high calories that kept you full, and it was always bland.
Yeah. Can't do it. Can't do it.
No, and nor do I anymore. I start bringing a lot of seasoning packets and stuff like that. To be fair, though, I still enjoy my rice and tuna with the onions and salsa. I'm still a big fan of that. Not for everybody, but I do enjoy that, man. It's got a lot of good fats in it. It fills you. It sticks to the ribs. High in calories. It's the one time generally when I look to, eat a few extra calories. Mind you, look at me, eat lots of extra calories. But in the woods, I tend to try and aim towards higher calorie items. And I'm talking like, just straight sugar and chocolate bars and stuff like that. Not energy bursts, but actual calories. Stuff that your body can turn into fuel because just, standing around in cooler weather, that takes extra calories than standing around in the summer.
Yeah. Steve talks about my oatmeal.
That stuff is good. It's better than oatmeal. If anybody has actually never tried it, Ben has a good recipe and he sent it to me and I have it written down somewhere. But there's things out there. Just look online. What's all in that, Ben? It's like chia seed or...
It's chia seeds, hemp hearts, shredded coconut.
Was flax in there?
Flax is in there. I use an artificial sweetener, and then you can spice it with anything you want. So you can put some cinnamon in it, you can put some berries in it, stuff like that. And but no, it's easily as good or better than oatmeal. It cooks the exact same way. It only takes a few minutes to prep. And I actually eat a modified version of that most mornings now. And what I do in the mornings for work, like what I take is that mixed with about 2 spoonfuls of cocoa powder.
Oh, like actual baking cocoa powder, like the bitter stuff or the sweet stuff?
Yeah, the bitter stuff, like just like, for baking.
Yep.
And just toss 2 in and mix it all up. And it just gives me a chocolatey, it looks something like a dessert, but it's more of a breakfast. And it's high in fiber, it's high in fats, it's very comforting. It sticks to you, and it's a great breakfast. And then honestly, you buy the ingredients, you mix up a whole bunch of it, and just spoon it out as much as you want. So have it I'll take a little container, a tub of it, and make my breakfast with it. It's pretty good.
So yeah, I think that's kind of it for me tonight, Ben. I know we're on 50 minutes. Which is a little shorter episode for us, but I knew it was going to be a little shorter episode, so unless you had anything to follow it up, I think all we're going to do is get into storytelling and things like that, and I kind of want to save that for the actual outing.
Yeah, sounds good. Like I said, anyone who wants to come, let us know. We'd love to see you. Love to get a chance sit there and chat, and hopefully have a little campfire story time type deal. Looking forward to see anyone who can get out. They said it's not this weekend coming, but the weekend after. So now's the time to start preparing if you're going to come. I know I got a bunch of stuff that I have to prepare.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And we'll be talking.
For sure. And as Ben said, please let us know if you plan to come. We do kind of got to get a head count as we're going on. That way for demos and stuff like that, we know how many people is going to be there. Not only that, make sure we got the room. And if we do anything extra, we kind of need to know how many heads are there as well. So please let us know. Once again, the which side are we at? AtlanticBushcraft.ca, podcast at AtlanticBushcraft.ca, our YouTube channel, which is Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If it's out there, we're probably on it. So just Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures into Google. Find some sort of contact us link on any of that crap, and it all filters into the podcast at AtlanticBushcraft.ca email address anyway. So if you can't remember that, get a hold of us. Let us know you're coming. All good?
All good. See you guys later.
Night all. Hopefully we'll see you out there.